You're tuned to Radio Kidnappers, the voice of Hawke's Bay. This is a program called Homeopathy on Air, and it's our pleasure, as always, to have in the studio Heidi from Thrive Homeopathy in Napier. How you going, Heidi?
Good as usual. Thank you very much.
And you've had some rough times. We were talking about it off air. You lost a tooth.
Yeah,
Gee.
getting old. Yeah, eating too much healthy muesli and biting on a nut.
Don't you hate that you sort of get something really hard?
Yeah, but at least it's the last tooth, so...
Yeah, no one's going to notice.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right. Hasn't spoiled the look of your face at all.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, you've been to a conference up in Auckland on homeopathy?
Yes. I'm now a member of New Zealand Council of Homeopathy, so in the executive team. Mm-hmm. So a lot of work to be done to promote homeopathy nationwide, to bring it closer to the public, and also to support all the registered homeopaths.
We've spoken about it many times, but do you find that homeopathy is becoming more accepted?
Yes and no.
Yes.
It's easy to say we're victims and always, laughed at and mocked, mm-hmm. and it's placebo and all that stuff. But to be honest, I think there are so many people out there asking for alternatives, mm-hmm. and that's why I do this show, just to offer suggestions, alternatives, and let people know there are other things that you can do alongside your medical approach, or instead of, depending on what's going on for you.
And of course, you're a user of it yourself. And last month we talked to Anne, who was,
yes.
not a guinea pig, but one of your clients, and she swears by it.
Yes.
So it's a real
and her family as well. And she sent her sister, who's a midwife. So she has a birthing kit now, so she can help her women through the birthing process a bit more naturally if they ask for it and would like it. So that's great. That's how it works, I guess, just spreading the word.
Of course. We have another program on kidnappers called Acupuncture with Heiko, and as Heiko swears, is not a thing that acupuncture can't help fix. And it's the same with homeopathy, isn't it? You can help.
Well, I guess you can say, that sounds like a big promise and statement, but I think what you can say with homeopathy, because it's a holistic approach, it will touch you on the physical mm-hmm. symptoms and complaints that you're having, but also help shift mental thought patterns and emotional trauma and situations that have sort of held you back and aided to the whole drama that you are probably facing when you're unwell. Indeed. So, I guess it does help, at least in all areas. Yeah.
And when you say it's a holistic approach, when we come and see you, it's not just a matter of saying, look, let's use your example. Look, I've got a toothache. You say, take this, off you go. It's more than that, isn't it?
Yes, and that's what makes it a little bit complicated. And often people are deterred. They take one remedy for their toothache, mm-hmm. It didn't help, so homeopathy doesn't help. Yeah. But pharmaceutical drugs, how often are you prescribed the wrong one? Mm-hmm. It doesn't work, so you go back and try another.
Yes.
Homeopathy is nature-based, and we have substances from the whole periodic table. We have plants, we have animal substances, so a few thousand to choose from. So, bear with us if we don't get it right the very first time.
Now, today we're here to talk about homeopathic remedies for the puberty blues.
Yeah, well, not just the blues, everything that has to do with puberty. We often, I've raised, or my husband and I, we've raised 2 children, a boy and a girl, so we went through it all. The good and the bad.
We presume everyone knows what puberty is, and everyone goes through it. Just remind everyone, what is puberty?
Well, puberty I would describe as that development through hormones and growth. So sexual maturity, mm-hmm. and that changes the body. So the facial hair, the voice in the boys, the breasts, menstruation. So all the muscles, everything starts to shift in your body. Yep. And along with that come the complaints of, I'm not as pretty as I used to be mm-hmm. because I'm full of acne and, hair is greasy. I'm changing. I'm getting rounder or taller or too lanky. So that can bring emotional problems with it. Then it's the whole emotional side of separating from parents and authority and home life and finding out who you are, which is a huge step. And then finding your orientation outside the home And then that is often the problem, that you may be attracted to the wrong peer group,
Yes.
and go down some paths that might not be that healthy or good for you. So homeopathy can help in all those sectors. It's not an illness, it's not something horrible, it's just a phase in life, a transition. And some go through it more easily than others. And all I'm saying is that homeopathy is a very natural, gentle, and great tool to use to help rebalance the hormones, to help clear the skin again, to help, like I have had several teenagers come who aren't sure about their sexuality. Who say, I don't know, am I homosexual or aren't I, you know? And it causes distress, because do I tell my girlfriends, do I tell my mates, are they going to laugh at me, are they going to exclude me? So those are huge problems at that time of life.
Interesting that you raise that point, because society is very aware of sexuality now,
Yes.
not just with homosexuality or heterosexuality. There are I think someone mentioned there are 19 stages of sexuality out there now.
Oh, really?
So, I mean,
Okay.
how do you deal with that? I mean, someone comes and says, look, I'm not sure what I am. Homeopathically speaking, what would you say to them? What would you do? What would you recommend?
Well, you see, that's the nice thing about coming to homeopaths. We do not tell you what to think or what to do. I do give recommendations for lifestyle choices.
Yep.
You know, if you're not sleeping, then, you know, do this. If you're overweight, well, maybe cut down on this. So in that respect, we do give suggestions, but it's not around, okay, go home and think this way and do this. And we don't do that. We listen and acknowledge what your perception of the world, of yourself, of everything is. If you feel you're being bullied, if you feel you're being treated unfairly, you know, your sibling gets it all, you get nothing. If that's your perception, be it true or not true, we don't judge, or we just take it as face value, and we have to find a substance, a remedy that will meet you in that level and sort of give you that shift to change your perception, if that makes any sense. Yeah.
Not that we want to harp on about sexuality, but if someone comes to you and they're not sure of their sexuality, one might presume that there might be more to them than just asking that question, that they may be being bullied or other things. What might you prescribe? Might you say, well, here's a homeopathic, not antidepressant, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's a full 1.5 hours of listening to the person. So if it's a young teenager, often I will get the information from the parents to see what has, you know, happened in the background, the development throughout life, any illnesses, any problems. But then I want to talk to that teenager alone and listen. And then also find out, well, has there been some kind of abuse to lead you down a different path, or is it really your feeling, and talk about that feeling. And there are remedies out there that just help to clarify and to help you find out who you are. So it's not necessarily a remedy for changing your sexuality. It won't do that at all. If you are homosexual, it might just help you acknowledge and accept who you are.
Oh, yeah, but like a priest, so if a young person comes to you, and I mean by a young person, I mean, say, someone under 18 who's not legally an adult,
Yes.
is what they tell you totally confidential, or might you get some information that you think, hey, maybe their parents should know this? Well, what do you do then?
Well, first of all, yes, it is confidential, but if it's dangerous
Yes.
for someone else or for themselves, if they are depressed, adults as well, I always ask the question, any suicidal thoughts in the past or in the present, or, you know, what's going on? And I have had very depressed teenagers come. So as long as they are getting that other support, maybe seeing a counselor and the support from the family, we deal with it safely.
Yeah.
We have a code of ethics according to our council that we abide by, and if there's any danger, then yes, we have to report it, but otherwise
So
as confidential as possible.
Yeah, so it's a bit like the Hippocratic Oath.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. Good on you.
Precisely.
Again, maybe on something not quite so serious. So, yeah, I mean, as we get into puberty, and I was one of the lucky guys, never had a pimple in my life until I got to about 60. What can you do to and it can be devastating, pimples, can they?
It can be, yes, because some really are almost like ulcerative and leave deep scars. And so if you go to a doctor, you're going to get antibiotics, you're going to get steroid creams. Girls will be put on the contraceptive pill. I mean, these are all pretty harsh drugs.
Yes.
And they do have side effects. So obviously you can do a lot with your lifestyle choices, reducing all the sugar intake and all the fizzy drink, and
Perish the thought.
eating a little bit more or a lot more healthy food, exercising, the right facial cleanse, taking care of yourself. Those are all things that you can do yourself. And homeopathically, we actually do have remedies that are for these extreme pustules and acne. And there's also a mental side that will go with it. Are you more that feeling sorry for yourself? Are you that outgoing person? Are you more the introvert, shy, timid? Are you very worried about what others are thinking? Or are you that rebellious teen? So that whole personality picture will also influence which homeopathic medicine we choose.
So if you're a bit more rebellious, you get a different homeopathic remedy to someone who's a bit of a bookworm.
Yes,
yeah,
definitely. And then also, what's the acne like? And where on the body is it? Does it bleed? Does it ooze yellow pus, or is it smelly? Is it painful? Is it itchy? Is it burning? Is the skin dry? So all these questions determine what approach.
Are the remedies, are they a cream, or are they a herb, or are they a pill?
No, they're tiny white milk sugar pills. So all the substances are put on this white sugar pill, so they all look alike. It's a carrier agent, really, for the homeopathic medicine. And sometimes we do give them in drop form, so that would be maybe in a 10 ml bottle, where you put alcohol, water, distilled water, and then the pillule in it. And so they would be taking it as a liquid. But normally, it's just the pillule.
That's interesting. So all homeopathic remedies are swallowed and work from the inside out.
Inside out, because they do more than just address the physical. They will also help that whole emotional. For example, my son's going to be upset when I say this on air, but there was this phase where he just locked himself up in the room, and it was always dark, blinds down, and it just felt the way he was acting, deep and dark. He'd come out, and I just felt like I'm under attack. He'd lash out and then disappear back, into his grotto. Yeah. And after a while, I thought, this is just too much, And so I said, hey, I've got a remedy for you. How about you give it a go? And he's like, yeah, whatever. And he took it, thank goodness. And the remedy was androck, which is a scorpion. So it's the venom of a scorpion. And if you think about what scorpions do, they hide in cool, dark places and come out, sting, and disappear again. And they're very aggressive. So it really settled him that he just became a normal teenager again, and that phase was then done with. So
interesting that you say normal, because I might suggest to you that someone listening to this program right now might be saying, are you drugging him?
Absolutely not. No, it's
because
not
he's going through that phase, which is what teenagers go through.
Yeah, and that's normal. And that's what I said earlier. It's not an illness. It's a phase.
Yes.
It's just like when we get older, as we know, right? We're going through,
that's right.
Menopause and aging, and we have our midlife crisis, and so things like that are phases in life, and puberty is just one of them. And there are normal changes, and everything within a certain limit and boundary is okay and doesn't need any kind of medication, right? But it's the extremes that I'm talking about, when they're just not happy in themselves, and that's impacting on the social environment around them, then that's where I do think that homeopathic support is good.
I mentioned oily hair. I suppose every adult suffers from oily hair, so I mean, regardless of being in puberty, but it's hard to believe there's a homeopathic remedy for oily hair.
Yes. Yeah, because the sebaceous glands are
Yes.
in balance. And that's what homeopathy does. It just helps to rebalance and to stimulate self-healing.
Is there a homeopathic remedy for growing your hair back?
Yeah, we have remedies for
Really?
alopecia, hair loss. Again, it will depend. Too early losing your hair, like if you're already losing it age 20, then that's a different remedy than losing it when you're older. And then again, it depends. Is it after a sudden shock, trauma, grief, or illness? Or is it in areas like around alopecia or all over? Yeah, absolutely. We've got remedies for that as well.
So what would you recommend to someone listening to this program, either who has got children going through puberty, or, for instance, I might say to my daughter, hey, look, when your little one starts doing this, it might be an idea to go and see someone like Heidi. At what age should we be considering? I mean, when does puberty strike? Does it strike everyone at the same age?
No, it doesn't, because we're all unique. And as I say, some just slide through it, and for some it's a huge drama. So generally speaking, girls will start with puberty between ages of 10 to 14. The boys, they start a little bit later, maybe 12, 13 to 16. And then I think that's the main massive change in body and awareness, but gosh, it goes on.
Who has the rougher ride, boys or girls?
Again, very individual. I think that luckily, because we had a boy and a girl, we had phases where it was a bit more the girl, lying or almost going into anorexia, thinking I have to be thinner, I have to, be acknowledged by a mate. Someone laughed at me because I was a size bigger and blah, blah, blah. And you sit there as a parent, and sometimes you just, I didn't medicate at that point. I just talked through it, was there as a support person, tried to give healthy advice, and she just came through that phase, right?
Yeah.
And then as my son was a bit too annoying, I, gave him that remedy.
Yes.
So you can't say. There is no rule.
And one thing we haven't talked about is that, and it only applies to girls and obviously women as well, but period pains. That and
huge.
You might have period pains for 20 or 30 years.
Yes, absolutely. I've had so many girls come. There are a few lucky ones where it just happens naturally and normally and is very bearable and tolerable. I often tell people try magnesium phos as tissue salts. That will help with just the normal pain and cramping of the uterus, and that works normally very well, and there's no side effects. So instead of grabbing ibuprofen and so on, try that. If the pains are too severe and they have to miss school, even endometriosis, young teenagers with endometriosis, it's shocking. And I've helped several. So without being on the pill and without marinas and things that they've already gone through by the age of 15 is shocking.
Is that a remedy that you take while you're having your period, or is it a remedy that you can take as a preventative to make it easier to get through?
Well, initially we start off with taking it, and again, it depends on the person and which remedy I give. So sometimes it will be just a few doses, and then we say, all right, let's wait and see what the next period is like. If it is strong again from the bleeding or from the pain, then you take another dose of this, or I'll have a different remedy, take that. So it's very, very individual. And like Anne from our last, she's not taking anything anymore. And for years, she had major problems. So it was a matter of 2-3 months to help the body get into do what it's naturally supposed to do. Yeah.
Great, Heidi. We're just about out of time now. I know you've got your song to play and we've got your thought for the day. But before we get there, just remind our listeners, we want to come and see you for some homeopathic help.
Yes,
Where
definitely.
Are you?
So my business is called Thrive Homeopathy because I want to help people thrive. And it's in Napier on the Hill. And you can contact me on 021 335233. You can also go on my website and find out a lot about homeopathy, testimonials, what I offer, etc., etc.
And what's your song?
Well, the song that I've chosen is the song from the Bee Gees, Tragedy, because when I was studying a group of remedies, a remedy came up and the lecturer said, that song is that remedy. When you understand that, you'll see it. And it's basically like for girls who've, broken up, or the boys dumped her after 2 weeks, and the girl is in tears, in hysterics. My life is over. That was my love. There's no life beyond this, and it's a tragedy.
It is indeed.
And we adults, with our experience, go, "Oh, honey, it's really, there's more life coming." And I just thought, that's also a good example of how homeopathy can help get you through that.
Indeed.
That
and
dip.
What is your thought for the week?
Well, I thought we've been talking a lot about puberty and youth. Why not include us oldies? So I was thinking youth is a gift of nature and age is a work of art.
Wow, I couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah, take
Good on
care.
you, Heidi. Take it easy.
Bye, everyone.